Oh. Tons of fun to sit down. Call the July 22nd, 2019 City Council Committee of the Whole meeting to order. The clerk will call the roll.
Borowitz. Brereton.
Here.
Crawford.
Here.
Frank.
Here.
Freeman.
Here.
McGee.
Here.
Alderman Porter will be absent. Ratcliffe.
Here.
Snow.
Here.
Stevens.
Here.
8 present.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody had a pleasant day. First up, under public comment, we have Mr. Carlisle again this week, and this time he would like to talk about the GIS part-time person. Would you like to come up? Please state your name and address for the record.
Certainly. Jeff Carlisle, 203 Secretariat's Way, Belvidere, Illinois. Would like to talk about, I saw the GIS information email, and I understand the need, but I also want to make sure that everybody understands a little more about the details of this information, because I talked to some of the county members, and the salary is split with the GIS, but we're not so sure about the equipment. So we'd like to have further discussions with everybody on how we were going to work that, and what happens when the county does hire a full-time person, how we want to work that. And I also talked to Grant. He said this may not work out with his farming. It may work out with his farming. So we have a lot of things juggling here, and we'd like to have a little more conversation before we take a big vote saying whatever we're going to need to do. So that's what I'm going to bring up to your attention. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Mr. Ratcliffe, would you call the record? Thank you. Under public forum, we have none this evening, which brings us to reports of officers, boards, and special committees. Under number 1, public safety unfinished business, we have none. Under number 2, public safety new business, we start off with the police department with an SRO agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In your packets, you have for your review the proposed intergovernmental agreement for a school resource officer, SRO, between Belvidere School District 100 and the City of Belvidere. The agreement highlights the SRO's area of responsibility being Belvidere High and Middle Schools. The SRO responsibilities within those schools are, in addition to many others, handling crimes in progress, responding to calls for service requiring a police report, community policing, building relationships with school staff and parents, developing rapport with the students, and acting as the liaison between the police department and school district. As you'll see in the agreement, the school district agrees to pay 70% of an average officer's compensation package. The SRO will be scheduled August through May for a 42-hour work week, Monday through Friday, following the school district holiday schedule. June and July, the SRO will be assigned to a patrol shift within the police department. The school district can schedule the SRO for sports and activities as outlined in the agreement, agreeing to pay the SRO's overtime rates. This agreement is for a period of 3 years, and either party can cancel the agreement with 60 days written notice. So I propose a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between Belvidere School District 100 and the City of Belvidere.
Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Alderman Crawford, may I have a second, please? Alderman Snow? Yes. Attorney Drella?
Just so the committee understands, it's the exact same agreement we've had for the last several years with new dates in it. The existing agreement is just expiring by term.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval will, when your name is called, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
Okay. Let's do a roll call vote then. Voice. What'd she just say?
You said roll call. Do you just want a
Okay,
voice
yeah,
vote?
I just want a voice vote.
Here.
Here. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Chief, you got your SRO agreement. Thank you. Next up, under police, we have the replacement of our veteran canine box.
In your packets, you have a memo stating pursuant to the recent signing of legislation to legalize recreational cannabis, our current canines can no longer be utilized in Illinois due to the fact that they alert on cannabis themselves. Therefore, the Belvidere Police Department is requesting authorization to purchase another replacement canine from FM Canine at a cost of $12,000, which includes the canine, 6 weeks training and housing for the duration of the training. As shown below, we have received the following donations for the purchase of a new canine, as you'll see outlined. I submit to you a motion to authorize the replacement of canine box at a cost not to exceed $12,000 from FM Canine in Berrien Center, Michigan, as per the attached contract and purchase agreement, with monies coming from donations from Members Alliance Credit Union, Gordon Nice, Prairie Place Homeowners Association, Montel Technologies, Maggio Truck Center, and the Belvidere Officers Association.
Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Alderman Crawford, may I have a second? Alderman Ratcliffe, questions, comments, or further discussion? Alderman Snow.
So the Belvidere Officers Association is a police association?
That is correct. They received a donation to the association specifically for the canine program.
Alderman Snow.
And so what happens to the dog now that we currently have?
Canine Monty will be given to, well, it'll go back to FM Canine, who will then repurpose the dog to a department outside of Illinois where marijuana is still illegal.
Do we get any reimbursement, or is that part of the package deal that they've already included in their price?
You know, my apologies. Actually, Monty was separate. This one will be Canine Box, which will be retired. It's a canine that we've had for the last 6 to 7 years. We were looking at retiring Canine Box and had put in the budget for the replacement of Canine Box in anticipation of that retirement. So this just upped the timeline just a little bit.
Additional questions or comments? Yes, Alderman Frank.
Is this new dog that we're going to get, he will be able to do other duties, but he won't sniff marijuana or anything?
Yeah, it'll be trained with everything that our previous canines were trained in, alerting to all the other illegal narcotics and tracking and aggression. And the only difference is it's just not going to be trained to alert to the odor of marijuana.
Yes, Alderman Freeman.
So we currently have 2 canines, right, Monty and Box. So Monty's getting turned back over to these people, and Box will be retired. So we're only replacing 1 dog?
Yeah, we're only going to have to purchase 1 dog because Monty is going to be, as I inadvertently stated before, Monty's going to be given back to FM Canine, who's going to repurpose the dog to another department, and then in exchange for Monty, give us another dog to then train. No, we'll end up having 2 because we'll have the one that's going to replace Canine Box and then the one that's going to replace Canine Monty.
Alderman Snow.
And so when Box retires, is it going to be the same officer, or will a new officer want to step up and do that dog?
We opened it up to other officers that wanted to be canine officers, and we've selected a new canine officer.
Anybody else? A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed unanimously. Under item C, it's fire department with dive gear.
Thank you, Mayor. The Belvidere Fire Department is seeking authorization to purchase an additional set of dive gear based on the following facts. Mavis Division 8 Water Rescue Team requires us to have certain gear to be able to dive with that team. Also, we have 7 water rescue team members, which includes 2 divers with a 3rd that's in training. And we currently have one complete set of dive gear and one partial set. This purchase will provide additional safety by allowing a minimum of 2 divers in the water at one time. This new gear will replicate our existing complete set. This will help keep the gear consistent. If there ever is an issue with the dive, we can easily swap parts at a scene and keep diving with minimal delay. Fortunately, the prospective third diver is the same size and body type as the second diver, so the dive gear will be interchangeable between those two. The cost of this new dive equipment is $4,836.22, and it will be split between the 2% fund and the Belvidere Fire Department. Each party will pay $2,418.11. The city's portion will be charged to the equipment line item 152206020. A copy of the quote is attached in your packet. DJ Scuba Locker deals with our local Mavis departments. They have done a majority of our service work in the past, and we feel that they are our best option.
Motion to approve. And a second. Motion by Snow, second by Crawford. Questions, comments, or further discussion? Alderman Snow?
So is this actually scuba gear as far as a tank, or is this the dry suits where you get the forced air in the suit?
It'll be a complete set. So it'll be the complete set scuba.
Well,
Tank, dry
okay.
suit.
Well, okay, so sometimes I thought the dry suits usually were piped in air as opposed to
No,
tanks.
these are external tanks.
Okay.
Additional questions or comments? Alderman Raritan, did you have a question? Okay. Anybody else? Motion is second. All those in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Under number 3, Finance and Personnel, unfinished business, we have none this evening. Under number 4, Finance and Personnel, new business. Let's start out with insufficient funds. Becky, are you taking that? Okay.
So currently in the ordinance, it has been $20 if somebody is to have insufficient funds and a check comes back to the city. With our new upgraded jet pay system for our water and sewer bills, that cost for those NSF checks off the bat is $30. So we're losing money right now if we don't increase our NSF to the $30. So we're just asking to match what we're being charged.
Attorney Drella?
However-
Ms. Tobin Kate came with that question. It was actually more than just water and sewer. It was for all city
for everybody.
operations. And I suddenly realized that the only place we had in our ordinances governing NSF checks at all was in water and sewer. So the proposal, if it passes this evening, would be to actually create a new section in our general code governing NSF checks and charging the $30. So it would apply to all city operations, not just water and sewer. And then we would simply remove that portion from the water and sewer code. So it'd be a general ordinance governing all city operations, clerk's office, building department, police department, fire department, everybody.
Okay, I have a motion to move in that direction. Alderman Snow, second. Alderman McGee, questions or comments? Alderman Snow.
So I think the Attorney Drella addressed it in the fact that I saw the entire paragraph was underlined, so, because at first I was thinking that, so I thought we already had this in place and we just underlined the 30, but thank you very much for clarity.
Anyone else, question or comment? Motion is second. All those in favor of passage signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed unanimously. Next up, under video gaming machines. Who wants to make that presentation?
I can take that one, Your Honor.
Okay.
As you all know, the General Assembly was incredibly busy this last spring and enacted much new legislation, not just recreational marijuana, but the governor signed new legislation, the Illinois Gaming Act this last summer, and part of that was an amendment to the Video Gaming Act. As you know, previously a location having video gaming could only have up to 5 gaming terminals. The state has increased that number now to 6. Our current code only allows 5 gaming terminals, however, so to fall in line with the state statute, the city could amend its municipal code to increase the number of gaming terminals permitted per licensed establishment from 5 to 6 gaming terminals. It would not increase necessarily the number of locations, just the number of terminals in each location.
So a motion to approve, increasing to 6. Alderman Crawford, second by Alderman Snow. Questions, comments, or further discussion concerning the motion now on the floor? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried unanimously, which brings us to D, part-time GIS specialist. Mr. Owen, do you want to take this? Oh, I'm sorry. Belvidere Cosmopolitan, I got ahead of myself. Donation to General Mills Park. Sure, go ahead, Meg.
The Cosmopolitan Club was generous enough to donate half of their proceeds from their golf outing last month to the new General Mills Park. So we just received the check last week, and we're very happy with the $2,800, so we just asked for a motion to approve that.
May I see a motion by Alderman Snow, second? By Alderman Ratcliffe. Questions, comments, further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll accept the $2,800 gratefully, and thanks to the Cosmo Club, unanimously approved. Next up, we have the GIS specialist, Ms. Tobin, and I'm a little confused. I thought we had an agreement in place, but Mr. Carlisle's comments gave me pause.
So we have sent a draft of the revised agreement to the interim county administrator for his review and to take it to county board. The revised agreement, and the city attorney could weigh in here, we just removed the portion where we pay half of the salary and health insurance for the employee at the county. We would still pay half of the GIS server salary, and Grant Anderson is here, and he could probably explain more of what we would still be sharing with the county. There would be some critical hardware, critical software that it still makes sense for us to join together. We just wouldn't be splitting a person any longer.
And Mr. Mayor, you're partially correct. We did meet with Mr. Anderson, maybe 3 different Andersons on city staff working in City Hall, not related. It's insane. Anyway, we do have an agreement in principle with Mr. Anderson with respect to his service to the city if the council would approve it, and that is as outlined in the July 22nd memo that Ms. Tobin prepared. So the farming does not appear to be an issue. He's agreed to perform the services, and we've been able to work out schedules such that it would not implicate or impact his farming activities either. So that does not appear to be an issue. The existing agreement with Boone County is very similar in some respects to the previous planning agreement as well as other agreements, wherein it was a joint department, or is a joint department. The city and the county each split the cost of hardware and computer software issues, computers, servers, and software to run the GIS mapping services. The city and the county under the current agreement each fund 1/2 of the salary and benefits of the GIS coordinator position, although technically that position is a county employee, very similar to the way other departments used to be run as well. There's a second person working that department who's strictly a county employee, and her position is funded completely by the county. The agreement which we have forwarded is, I don't believe it's before them yet tonight, is it, Becky?
No, I think it was last Thursday.
Right. The agreement that was forwarded to the county administrator, we wanted to get his input before we brought it to you, would essentially eliminate the city's contribution with respect to the GIS coordinator position. However, we would still fund the cost of the hardware and software necessary to have GIS mapping services. The work that the GIS coordinator did for the city would be taken over by the new part-time GIS specialist who would work here at City Hall. So that was the contemplated plan of action moving forward. With respect to Mr. Anderson, that should be no issue with respect to him being able to get his work done.
So what we're looking for is a motion to hire a part-time GIS specialist for the city of Belvidere at a rate of $26 per hour. I have a motion to
I'll
approve.
make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Crawford, second. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Questions or comments? Alderman Freeman, then Alderman Snow.
So basically, Grant was, you were full-time? And so we're going to just do 2 part-time, one for the city, one for the county?
It'll just be a part-time for the city. He will no longer be working for the county. He will be farming part-time and then working for the city part-time.
Okay, so then the county doesn't have anybody?
The county will be looking at their options as far as replacing, and I've already spoke with the interim county administrator, because what we do kind of impacts how they go forward. And they have not even begun to look for a new GIS coordinator yet. They haven't advertised, they haven't hired, they haven't done anything yet, so.
So would it be appropriate to maybe table this at this time until, you know, we get a little farther down the road with what the county's going to do, or no?
Well, I think what we do determines what the county's going to do. If we aren't going to hire Grant, then they're going to hire for a full-time position, I imagine, to replace Grant. And I don't know when that will be or how long that will be.
I think it boils down to that Grant's not going to work for the county anymore, but he would be interested in doing a part-time job for us. And currently, we share him with the county. That's the only thing that's changing. He's not going to be working for the county. Beside that, the other part of it is that we will share the cost of the equipment involved as we have in the past. So, yes, Alderman Snow.
So what are, and Grant, you may chime in, what are the logistics of him working from City Hall versus being at the county work site?
Well, I guess right now, I have my workstation over at the county offices, and I'm able to do work on the server there. It's all one database. It's the same database that's available from City Hall here as well. And then I guess the online portion of it, that is you can remote in from any website, different browser, I guess, and logging to the server that way, manage the services that are being ran on the server there. That it wouldn't really affect anything. It'd be more beneficial to be here on the
Yes, Janet?
I just want to add, so in the community development suite, we do have an office that has a part-time employee in it, and that computer will be uploaded with the GIS software and data because that part-time employee needs it. So Grant will be sharing that office. We already have the office space, the computer with GIS, and the community development department already has a large-scale scanner and a large-scale printer, which is one of the costly equipment items. We already have that in-house that I use. So there's already office space, the data, the programs, and some of the equipment here already for Grant to use.
So, Grant, do you foresee any difficulties that we've not perceived yet?
I wasn't here the whole time, but nothing that I've heard so far.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Passed unanimously. Welcome aboard. Under number 5, other, we have under A, erosion and sediment control requirements. Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Copies in your packet tonight is a section of the ordinance that, regarding erosion and sediment control requirements. We have an agreement with the Boone County Soil Water Conservation District to provide those inspections and plan reviews for us. And up until now, the IEPA paid for those reviews to the Boone County Soil Water Conservation District. They have received notice, the district has received notice that the IEPA is no longer going to be doing that. That became effective July 1 with their new budget year. So I was approached by Soil and Water Conservation District, said, hey, we'd really like to keep doing this, but we would like to get still get paid to do this work for us. So what you see in front of you in the underlined portions of our existing erosion sediment control requirements in the ordinance is proposed amendments that would allow for basically the Soil and Water Conservation District to bill for their work, which will be paid for by the developers and property owners where the development's taking place that requires their plan reviews and the inspections. So if approved by the council, this will come back in ordinance form.
I have a motion to approve. Motion by Alderman Snow, second. I have a second. Alderman Ratcliffe. Questions or comments? Alderman Snow.
So, Brent, at this point, the IEPA was paying the fee that was associated with this, and now they're going to pass along the fee to us, which we're going to pass along to the developer. Doesn't the Soil and Conservation District also do like reviews on almost all the zoning things? So how does that work as well, out of curiosity?
Well, that's not going to change, that won't change that part of it. This will be just strictly for their sediment and erosion control responsibilities that they do for us. And the IEPA, their last 2017 and 2017, they were reimbursed, the district was reimbursed $65 an hour for their time spent, and they're requesting now in 2019, they've calculated that their hourly expense is $75 an hour.
Additional questions or comments? So we're just replacing the service with soil and water, and they're not being, IEPA is not involved in it.
Not involved anymore. They've stepped back away from it, and we're by these amendments to our ordinance, it's going to be a direct, payments will go to the Soil and Water Conservation District directly, not come through us, so it won't be a reimbursement issue. They'll just be paid directly to Soil and Water.
Okay. Another question?
So when this does occur, the developer realizes up front and he has to pay that fee up front, or he knows he's going to get a bill for it, as opposed to like the recapture fees for, main trunk lines for sewer and water and that over the course of time.
The developer or the property owners will get a packet from the city pre-development that will include those, the soil, would be one sheet that will include the Soil and Water Conservation District fees and the fee structure, and outline the process of what they need to do their work.
Anybody else? All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. Which then brings us to item B, acceptance of public improvements for the Dixon subdivision.
Memo in your packet, Dixon subdivision has completed all the public improvements required. That subdivision is located on the corner of Fairgrounds Road and Business and State Street in town. They had to do put in a new sanitary sewer service, a new water service, do some sidewalks, some other grading and paving. All that work has been done, and I would recommend that the City Council approve a resolution accepting the public improvements for the Dixon subdivision.
May I have a motion to that effect? Alderman Berg, second. Alderman Snow. Questions or comments, Alderman Snow?
And just wanted to say thank you for getting that sidewalk redone at that corner. That was going to create a safety issue if anybody uses that during the winter months of the ice pond.
Additional questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. Forward to City Council final disposition. Under number C, very simple, Boone County Historical Museum Ice Cream Social Street Closure Request. May I have a motion to approve? Motion by Alderman Snow, second by Alderman Burton. Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed unanimously, which brings us to the Buchanan Street Strolls Street Closure Request. May I have a motion to approve? Motion by Alderman Frank, second by Alderman Crawford. Questions or comments? Alderman Snow.
And I know timing is everything, but I was a little surprised. The first time I'd seen anything about this was through the chamber via an email, and so it was already a done deal per se, but then we're asking for the road
They haven't
closure.
had their first one yet. Committee is still meeting. I think they were a little anxious to send that out, yes.
We had our fourth meeting today at 10 o'clock. It was in the process of making sure that all of the elements were going to come together, so I decided to present it this week.
And I gathered, based on what I did see, I didn't read the whole packet because it wasn't, it appeared to be geared toward food vendors, the way the chamber thing, but are there other vendors that can participate, or is the intent just food vendors?
It's food vendors, craft vendors, farmers market vendors, some direct sale vendors. Local organizations will be there doing kids' activities. Some 501c3s will be there. I know the library signed up to do a kids' day. The school volleyball team's doing face painting, stuff like that. And then there will be music. We're getting sponsorships for the bands playing. A local resident is really taking charge and doing a lot. And then I'm supporting her because obviously through Heritage Days and Hometown Christmas, I have a vendor list and stuff like that. But she's going out, getting the sponsorships and working on all the vendors. But it will be multifaceted. And there'll be a bags tournament.
Sarah Brunel sent me a message, must be 3 months ago, and I had an idea because she was basing this on some things that she's seen done, like at Nicholas Conservatory and other places. And I reached back to her and said, it's yours, run with it. And boy, did she. Sarah was one of the partners original of the two Sarahs that were originally at the coffee shop, the Wicked Brew. So it's amazing the amount of work that she's done on this and put this thing together so far. We'll have 4 of these this fall, starting the second week after the fair and ending with an Oktoberfest Sunday. See how it goes. It's an opportunity to bring people into downtown. We're also going to encourage the merchants along State Street to do sidewalk sales if they'd like to. So it's a... Okay, Alderman Snow, then Alderman Frank.
That's where the craft vendors and farmers market vendors would be, and then the parking would be on the lot on the other side of the railroad tracks.
Gina, I had a question. Do the food vendors have to get a health permit?
Yep, all food vendors have to comply with the health department regulations.
Okay, and then do food vendors, do they have to have a food truck, or can they have a tent with food?
Either one. Sarah texted today that Ann Jan's Eats, who's one of our Heritage Days vendors, they don't really have a food truck. They have a big grill on wheels, that like a trailer, and then they put a pop-up tent over it, that they're going to come back for that because they are so successful at Heritage Days and they like being in Belvidere, so they'll be coming back. So yeah, it doesn't need to be like a traditional food truck.
Additional questions or comments? Alderman Stevens.
Which streets are going to be closed off?
Buchanan Street from State to Main, and then Whitney basically from City Hall to just past like the edge of the Napa building, like so that intersection's closed off, so just the 2 blocks right there. So it shouldn't impede vehicle traffic at all. And the business owners that use the large parking lot, like that's behind Moscato's and La Canasta, that'll still be open for their customers and their delivery trucks to be able to get in there.
Alderman Snow.
And just thinking, obviously, this seems like it would be something where people would, if they did get food or wherever they might want to sit down and stuff, do we have provisions to accommodate that, or what the tentative plans are?
A local business owner will be providing picnic tables that he'll set up on Buchanan Street, so they can sit down in the middle of Buchanan Street on picnic tables.
And then, if I could, we're also encouraging the big green space outside. We're encouraging people to picnic as well, if people want to bring their own chairs. I don't know if you've ever been to Ravinia, but people bring their own chairs, they prop their own tables open, and just kind of make their own little space. So we're encouraging people to do that as well.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. And we're also looking for aldermen who would like to serve in the dunk tank. And we'll need an alderman to skydive onto the site at the beginning of the first event. So if any of you are interested, please notify my office. Okay.
Ms. Clayton.
At this point, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Crawford, second by Alderman Brereton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We are now adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.